Okay.
So don't jump in.
Oops. I'm doing this opposite. Dust, how do I do this opposite? Oh, here we go. Well, here we are. We are actually live in...
It's called Abertrydu.
Okay, here we go.
This is Abertrydu. This is Welsh for mouth of the three rivers. And this is where I grew up, here in Wales.
So I'm here. We just met. This is Deb Barrie. We just met here in Wales at church yesterday, and I really want all of us. We're going to talk today about Elder Soares' talk, but I wanted you to meet Deb first. We just met yesterday. We're going to be at a conference this weekend together, and I just wanted you to have a moment getting to know her before we got into the talk. So Deb just mentioned to me that this is her childhood home.
It's 50 years later. And yeah, no, it's great to be back in my homeland. And it's great. We always love to bring visitors as well. So we love to show off. Just right opposite was where my dad used to work as a coal miner. And for anybody who's got Welsh family history, that is all right here in this valley, which is just surrounded by coal mines that have now closed down, but a great history.
So I was talking to Deb yesterday, and I just mentioned that I was here doing family history, and she said, well, my mother does family history and she loves it, and I have a lot of Welsh family history. So we are here, and she's going to teach. Oh, it says, that's Deb. Hi, Deb. It's Whitney's sister, Marty. That's my sister mission companion. She is the best.
And they've been over and they've done their family history here as well.
Oh, my goodness. That's awesome.
They've been here to that house and stood right on that step and done family history with my mum. So Whitney was my mission companion in Guatemala, and we all worked together. But yeah, they came over and did all of this as well. So yeah, if you've been here and you know how much my mum loves family history, this woman is insane about it. I wish I could say I was good, but I'm very much a great cheerleader of hers.
Okay, well, I also wanted to show you can see right across the way that there is the Welsh flag. So there's our Welsh flag, but we're going to follow Deb in as she was just talking. I will say really quick, Deb's mom is a convert to the church.
That's right.
When she was young.
She was 19 and served her mission in the Franco-Belgian mission when she was younger, and then later on, after my dad passed away, she served as a missionary, as a senior missionary sister, doing family history across the United Kingdom with all of the different missions in the UK. So that was just a few years ago.
And Deb actually has been working with humanitarian work since she was a young woman. So tell us the story of your mom involving you with a humanitarian.
So I started off doing my Young Women's Project when I was 17, worked in Romania after the fall of Ceausescu, and it was a Young Women's Project that went out of control, collecting hygiene kits and packs to go over to Romania. And that was really the start of it, my mum reminding me that don't just watch it, go to work and do it. And so that's what we did, and we had a great time getting everybody involved, and that was the start. I then served with quite a few, probably the sisters on here, who down in Guatemala as a welfare missionary, and 88 humanitarian countries later, 30 years of working across the globe in every single, well, a lot of the biggest crises that have happened in the last 3 decades. But it's an absolute privilege to serve and to do the Lord's work on the ground.
It is absolutely amazing. So, and now you've just retired, is that right?
No.
You just moved here, just missed your job there. Oh, I thought you were saying you were done.
I wish. I think this is probably about to get, with the signs of the times, this is probably going to be my busiest period. I've changed a little bit right now. I now do a lot more teaching. I've just started the Young Humanitarians internship program across in Latin America and the Middle East. And we've just started doing some other work on women's leadership across the globe.
What in the world? I think I needed to meet you, Deb. We have a lot to talk about. Okay, I'm going to follow Deb in as we're going to go in and we'll just chat. What's that?
I said, let me just give her a heads up.
Yes. Okay. She's going to go in and talk to her mom. Talk to her mom as we come in here. Is this the most amazing and incredible experience? Here we are in Wales. I've just decided wherever I am, you're going to come with me. So thank you all for joining. And Catherine, I'm going to get you on here as soon as I go up here. So here we are climbing these stairs. I have Dustin behind me. He's helping us out. It's amazing who the Lord puts in your path as we're traveling around this world. It's absolutely incredible. I am going to cut this a little bit short today because she has invited me to meet her mom and to do family history, and I want to do family history today. So we are going to spend a little bit of time on the talk, and then we'll do family history. So anyway, we're walking into their They're home. Hello. I know this is a little bit random that I'm doing a live while I meet you. Hi. I'm Barbara.
Hello.
Gardner.
I'm Lynn.
Can I have you meet my friends on live, or would you rather not?
Okay.
Okay. Here's Lynn.
Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say.
Will you tell us, Lynn, about how you got your daughter doing humanitarian work?
I was telling you about Romania, Mum.
Oh, well, back in 1992, when the fall of Ceausescu in Romania, there were lots of children who needed our help. So we got together with, I was the Stake Young Women's president at the time, so I and my councillors got our young women to do a service project of getting lots of things together, ready for the children out there. And then I and my husband and my daughter, we went out to Romania and we took a whole pile of supplies.
Took a truck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we took a whole truck full. And we were amazed at the state of the children, especially the children who were in hospitals, who had learning difficulties and mental health problems. And it just struck us that, so we did 2 trips. We did one in 1992 and one in 1993. And so Deb was able to see what the problems were.
Well, thank you. We're going to ask you about joining the church and everything else, too. I'm just going to get on this for a second, but will you just tell us, just briefly, and then I'll leave you alone for a moment. Then we'll do family history. Will you just tell us for a moment how you joined the church, came to the church?
Okay. Okay, so I joined the church when I was 19. I was living in a flat. When I had lived at home with my parents, if anybody came sort of from Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't recollect us anybody coming from our church, but I remember Jehovah's Witnesses coming, and my parents always sort of dismissed them straight away. So I always felt if I'd been living at home, I probably would not have had the chance to listen to the missionaries. But I had moved out of home only about sort of 6 months before. And so when the missionaries called, I thought, oh, now I can choose myself. So I let them in more out of curiosity, really. But anyway, they taught me, and I had a wonderful experience. They challenged me to read the Book of Mormon, and I was reading the Book of Mormon one day, and I can picture myself now. I was sat at the table, just looking at a wall in front of me, and all of a sudden I had this feeling like I was being washed inside out, and I just knew that the Book of Mormon was true. And the missionaries were really surprised when they came next time, because I said, I know the Book of Mormon is true and I want to be baptized. And they were a bit surprised at that. And then after that, it didn't matter what they'd asked me to do. I just knew it was true. So I had no trouble with the word of wisdom or tithing or anything, because I just knew it was true. And I've been an active member ever since. I've served 2 missions. When I was 21, a proselyting mission, I served in the Franco-Belgian mission. And then after I was widowed, I served a year-long mission at home, but working for Roots Tech. It was the first time, well, it's the only time because of COVID, it was the first time that Roots Tech took place in the UK, and it took place in London. And so I did a year's mission from home, but then went to Roots Tech and was part of the team doing Roots Tech in the UK.
Well, that is absolutely amazing. You are meeting her along with me, so thank you so much. I'm going to sit down here if that's okay. And okay.
Sit on the chair or the bed.
Okay.
You can tell we've just had to change.
Oh, I just love it.
Yeah.
Well, I am so excited. I've loved meeting you already. I love meeting your daughter. So thank you. We do this podcast every Monday morning in the United States, and we've been calling it Walk with Him. And all we do is we study. It's not all we do. It's actually quite important. We study a talk by the brethren and sisters, leaders of the church, and then we talk about the doctrines and principles of it, and the application, and how we can help and be women of influence in this world, and be a moral compass to the world, and fulfill the pleas of the prophet as women and men. So if I'm in Wales, we'll do it in Wales. And if I'm in Brazil, we'll do it in Brazil. But today, the timing happened to be that it's 9:00 in the morning in Utah. So I wanted to chat briefly with these wonderful women, and then we will move on. We're going to do family history together. We have a few lines. I'm Welsh. Morgan is my last name, my maiden name.
Right.
So we're going to do some family history together when we get off this. And Martina, I see that you've joined us from Brazil. Martina is a missionary. She just got her call recently to Italy. Oh, so exciting, Martina. I'm so happy to see you. K-Bone. Makes me giddy. Okay. I am going to start here. I'm looking for Catherine. Catherine, I know you're on here, so you feel free to join me. And Deb, if you want to share, if you want to share some things, you just feel free to jump in. Okay, either of you. Okay, so we are reading this talk by Elder Soares, and it's called Reverence for Sacred Things. And I absolutely love this talk. So again, I'm gonna see if this works. I'm gonna try to put you on this little connector here. Okay, that's not. This has to. Oh, come on. Maybe that'll work. Okay. So, reverence for sacred things. I'll just start off. And Catherine, if you have joined, I'm going to try to go to the very end of this. And if you are on there, feel free. Oh, let's see. Catherine, there you are. I'm going to with me in Wales. But for now, we'll do this. I wish we were all in Wales together. Hello from North Carolina. That's awesome. Says yes to Pluto sisters. Hi, Catherine, here we are in Wales.
What?
Hi, friend.
I have to know where in Wales. That's where my husband served his mission.
Philly.
Philly.
Oh, my husband served there.
Oh, her husband.
And Blackfoot.
Say it again.
Blackfoot.
Blackwood.
Blackwood.
Do you know the Thomases?
We know the
Lennon
Thomases.
Faye Thomas. Yes, we
And
came and stayed with them for a couple of weeks. We love that town, and we love Wales, and so fun.
Yeah, we know the Thomases really well.
You do.
Isn't that great?
Good people. I love Wales. There was nothing like going to church in Wales, I felt like. I just felt like the faith and the humility and how welcomed we were. I just have such a special place in my heart for Wales.
Well, clearly I'm feeling that as well, as these two wonderful women have invited me into their home, and I'm a complete stranger until yesterday for today. So, and here we are doing a podcast in their home. Who does this to people? But here we are in Wales, members of the church and women. I think we just open doors and love. Yep. We make two amends.
I just think it shows like the beautiful sisterhood
It
of the Church of
does.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Barb, it's just so amazing to see and hear from these women and so inspiring.
I absolutely. I'm gonna get some family history work, but I'm also gonna interview the living daylights out of these women over the next couple of days, a couple of hours, and just see what I can gather from them.
Love it.
Kat, I have to tell one quick one quick family history story. It's not really a family history, but we were in Logan, which is outside of Carmarthen, inside Carmarthenshire. And my great great grandfather joined the church there and was buried in a cemetery. So we found his grave yesterday, which was what day is it? 2 days ago, Saturday morning. And and the church was locked in the front. But guess what? I shouldn't admit this on public, whatever. I was able to kind of find my way in through a back entrance.
A
And
back
that,
window.
yeah, the church was so beautiful inside. I just couldn't believe it. And I just sat on the bench, and I thought, my relatives likely sat on this bench and had an enjoyable church. And there it was in that Logan area that Joseph Williams Morgan found the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, left his family and everyone behind, married my great great grandmother, and here they came on the great ship Amazon to the United States. Isn't that great?
Wow, Barb, that's amazing.
Oh, it's just one little line, but it was just such a beautiful thing to find the gravestone, be in the church. I
In
just
that
kind of read through
church.
some of the material. Yes, it was just a beautiful old church in a very very small, not even a town. I don't know what it's called, but it wasn't even a town. Anyway, um, okay. I know we need to get into this, but
Yes.
we've talked about this too. I'm just going to say this. I am still planning next year. We don't have the dates yet to come back with anybody who wants to come with us, and let's do England, Scotland, and Wales. For those of you who are interested, the UK, we'll all come over here and stay with Deb. Bring your pillows, people. Bring your pillows. Bring your pillows and sheets. We'll be just fine.
Oh, that will be amazing.
Yes. That's funny. Somebody says, was the ship Amazon a 2-day delivery? No,
I'm
it
sure they
wasn't.
wished that it was
It
a
was,
2-day journey.
I will say it was actually the ship that Charles Dickens writes about. That we had the great crop of these people coming from this area. It was actually Charles Dickens got on the ship and wrote a little bit of the history of the individuals who were coming to the United States. So they were actually on that ship. Kind of fun. Anyway, just Latter-day Saints. Okay, we could talk church history all day, and I see somebody that says, "Let's do it." And I'm actually not kidding. We'll get that figured out
Yeah,
when we
I'm
get back
in.
to the United
I'm
States.
all
We'll
in.
we'll get it done. Okay, Deb, are you ready to guide us through all the church history sites?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I know a
Deb's
friend. I know a friend.
okay. They know people. Okay,
Know
okay.
people.
Hey,
Um,
I know Glenn Thomas can take us down in the coal mines.
Exactly.
Yep.
there you go.
Between Glenn, Faye, Christy, and I will be good.
There you
Yep.
go. See,
We'll
Yeah,
be
we'll be
great.
good.
We got it.
Yeah, Glenn isn't very well at the moment, but I'm sure.
I know.
We'll grab everybody else to go to it.
Okay. It was so great. We went to church yesterday. I don't know the name of the gentleman, but he has a garden, and he brought all of his
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah.
Martin, oh, he brought so much produce yesterday for everyone to share with him. It was so kind and thoughtful. Anyway, okay, I do want to get into this.
Okay.
I listened to this talk the first time by Elder Soares. The second time, I don't know, but this time going back and reading it, um, he nails it. So if it's okay, Catherine, I'm going to start out with a couple of spots that I absolutely love. And I've actually found here, I'm going to tell you one more church history story because I can't help myself, but I'm going to just do this first because it ties into this. He says, he talks about sacred and holy ground and reverence, of course. So that's paragraph 1. And paragraph 2, that sacred mountain epiphany was an experience filled with awe-inspiring reverence, connected to Moses to his divine identity, and was, in fact, a key element of his transformation from a humble shepherd to a powerful prophet, leading him to walk a new path in life. Similarly, each of us can transform our discipleship into a higher pattern of spirituality by making the virtue of reverence a sacred part of our spiritual character. And then he defines reverence like in this way. He says the word reverence can be traced to the Latin verb reverere, which means to stand in awe of. In the gospel sense, this definition mingles with a feeling or attitude of profound respect, love, and gratitude. Such expression for the sacred by those who have a contrite heart and a deep devotion to God and Jesus Christ fosters increased joy in their souls. So I wanted to share, I actually asked just a simple question in mind, and I'd love for you, those of you who want to answer it now, but I would also love for some of you after this podcast is over to answer this question so other people can read your answers. The question is, what have you stood in awe of lately? What are your awe moments where you're just blown away by the Lord? And I'm going to give you one. It's a family history one. This one, I did not even realize it happened until Saturday morning at the gravesite. You know how family history is. It is the weirdest, it's not even the weirdest, it's the most awe-inspiring experience for me. So here's the deal. Dustin and I were doing temple ceilings at the Mount Timpanogos Temple on July 29th, 2025. And this is important because we were doing this work with this family, and this family kind of, I don't know, a little bit grudgingly, nice people, but kind of grudgingly, and let us into their sealing session. It was obviously a family sealing session, and Dustin and I kind of came. We were running a little bit late to our session, but also had to get home to the girls. So we only had about a 20-minute time slot. But they let us in, and then the sealer asked if it would be okay if we did some of the work for this family. Well, sure enough, as we're doing this work, there's a name that they're doing the work for, and it was somebody Etta Morgan from Carmarthenshire, Wales. And I said, well, that's so interesting. I bet that's a family member. I just kind of laughed. I bet that's my family. Ah ha ha. I just laughed, right? While we were in the cemetery on Saturday morning, I was looking at the names of individuals who were direct descendants of not my great 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 grandpa, but a different son and their family down the line. And I looked at the name of the individual on the gravestone, and it was Benjamin Morgan. And then I looked up Benjamin Morgan's son, and it was Joseph Williams Morgan, who happens to have the same name as my grandfather, great 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 grandfather, and then his daughter. And I looked at the date, and it was July 29th, 2025, Mount Timpanogos
No,
Temple. I am not kidding you. And I did her work. And I didn't even know she was related. I mean, I'm not kidding you. People, you cannot make that up.
you can't.
I seriously sat there like looking at this app on my, like, there is no way that somehow in a 20-minute period of time that Dustin and I were in and out of the temple, that we actually did the work for our great 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 aunt, and then we go to her gravestone. Like,
That is,
and we had no idea, like zero connection. And I was feeling bad because I was interrupting this family circle. So apparently, if anybody's listening to this, I don't even know who you were. I wouldn't remember you because I was so randomly running and just so into the moment of seeing this name. If somebody listening to this knows somebody who was at the temple on July 29th, 2025 at Mount Timpanogos doing the names of the Morgan family in Wales, just so you know, we're cousins. Like fourth cousins, just
that
FYI.
that
Anyway,
is awe.
here's my moment.
Right. And I just also, I mean, Elder Soares here gives the definition in Latin roots, but I just also think it's interesting in Hebrew. It comes from the word yirah, I don't, Yirah, which means holy awe.
Oh, I love the
I
holy
love
awe.
that. Or the fear of the Lord, but not being scared of him, but standing in holy awe, in wonder of him. So I think, and I love this talk because he's teaching us that reverence is both an attitude of the heart and the way we live.
Yes.
You can see it in how we speak, how we treat each other in sacred spaces, and how we honor our covenants. And Barb, I love this right here. You're speaking of this experience with reverence, but it's not quiet. I mean, sometimes reverence, we have to be quiet and still and serene, but it also inspires like joy and this standing in awe, and just the tone of your voice and your excitement, that to me is awe as well, and
Well,
reverence.
Catherine, you and I, Just when we get excited about sacred things, we get really excited, and it's
Really
hard to show
excited.
in the excitement, right? I mean, it's hard. There's some people who are maybe a little bit more quiet, reverent. I remember my mission when I would feel the spirit so strongly, I would just laugh, and I wasn't trying to. The joy was so real for me that I was busting a gut all the time, and I still feel that way today. Hopefully I'm a little bit, it wasn't like the section 88, the Doctrine and Covenants, where we weren't just laughing, but it was such you know what it is? It's paragraph 4 when he says it is also one of the most elevated experiences of the soul. It's an elevated joy. It's just this laughter. Yeah, hallelujah. It's the
Huzzah!
rejoicing. Yes, the huzzah, right? That's in section 128 of the Doctrine and Covenants, it's Joseph Smith talking about, again, family history. And he talks about this great rejoicing that's happening, and is go on in a better in such a great cause, right? It's that kind of huzzah. Like what greater thing is there than saving souls for eternity? That's the purpose of the atonement of Jesus Christ. So
So
I
I
love
love
it.
that idea, holy awe.
I love Holy Awe.
I stand in holy awe. I rejoice in holy awe. Um, and I will like see and anticipate and honor my God in holy awe.
I love it. I have to give you one more holy awe moment. Was again here in Preston. Well, actually, it was in Liverpool. This wasn't what you would see as a clear, obvious miracle in a sense of the Lord, but it was a clear, obvious holy awe. It was standing there on the shores of Liverpool, and the reverence that I feel and continue to feel for the great sacrifice of so many who were in this. Probably it says on the little plaque, 35,000 saints left their homeland in Great Britain and went to the United States. That, to me, again, that's holy awe, that we would have such a large number being guided by the Lord and willing to leave everything behind and come. And the holy awe of meeting this wonderful family of saints who need to be here and who have spent their lives here and strengthening the church in their own country and expanding the stakes and helping us all to be grounded wherever we are throughout the world. It's to me, it's a holy awe. Anywhere I see the hand of the Lord, it is holy awe. It really is. Dustin and I were watching a podcast, just a reel the other day, where it had a temple, and then it had a number of different fun activities, and the person just wrote on there, my sacred place, and then it just is not the temple but these places. It was just kind of a negative, not to be negative, but it was. And my thought was, both of our thought was, aren't all of those places sacred? The family, the ocean, the
Yeah,
temple, right? And different, if we recognize the hand of the Lord in all of those things, that is holy awe.
that is holy awe.
Anyway.
So beautiful. And
Okay, she's coming. Deb's coming to say something. Here we go.
I do.
yay,
Sorry.
Deb.
Yeah, not very good at not.
Nice try, Deb.
But this is maybe a little bit of a tangent, so apologies in advance, guys, if I go too far off the lesson. But I shared it in our Relief Society yesterday, and part of my job as a humanitarian is I get the privilege of working with a lot of people around the world. And a lot of people, and we were just talking about people who've not of our faith, but actually a real faith and look to God for what is they stand in awe of. And I had the privilege at the moment to work with a lot of frontline responders and those who are on the front lines who are local people. And of course, one of the countries that I work very closely with is in the Middle East is Gaza. And one of the members of staff there I've known for over 15 years. And he's from Gaza. He's got his family. I'll keep his name and everything out of it for now. But he's a granddad, has many grandchildren, and they've moved loads and loads. And he's a senior leader in Gaza. And this weekend, unfortunately, he lost his home. And his children have all lost their home before, but his had been the place where the grandchildren and the children had all come together. And when I asked him on Saturday, I said, how are you feeling this morning? And he said, all I can do is thank God for keeping me alive. And I was just so touched. He's like, I need to get to work. I have so many people I need to go and help, and they need to find food. And I'm going to protect my family today, but I know I also need, God will look after them as I leave again. And I thought, he reminded me of what charity and love is as well. He didn't want me to point blame to anybody. He didn't want me to say, this is so bad. He just said, can you continue to pray that God will protect my family? It's just stuff at the end of the day. I mean, he was devastated for his grandchildren, but he's like, it's just stuff. And I thought, here is somebody who's gone through 2 years of war and still can look to God, and just reminded all of us as well. And I talked to some of my colleagues who, again, are not of our faith, but who wanted to say, please just trust God. And so I stand in awe of people who also find God in the toughest of times. And that's what we'll be talking about this week when we talk about the humanitarian situation in Geneva, about the best is yet to come, because we have amazing people out there who are standing firm in God's word, because they believe that God will try and protect them. So that's my thoughts.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. You don't have to leave, Deb.
No, you
Can
Yeah, stay right there.
I know, Deb. Will you stop? I feel like I'm going to force myself over to her corner over there, but anyway, this is real. This is partially what we're doing here in well, we're in Wales right now, but we'll be in Switzerland, in Europe, is talking about some of these most important freedom of religion and humanitarian and really lifting and building in Europe, members of the church, and us being lifted by them, what we can do to reach out to people. Anyway, that's a different story for another day, but
Well, and I love just what she's sharing and how Elder Soares says it's a higher pattern of spirituality when we can stand in holy awe, when we recognize, when we see, when we express gratitude, when we can stand in awe at the ocean, at the mountains, and I think an important part for me of holy awe is I stand in awe right now of where you are and these wonderful women who are sharing their experiences. Holy awe in their steadfastness, in their willingness to be a light, to be a moral compass. Holy awe of individuals. That is also reverence for sacred things, because we are all sacred. And so can I stand in holy awe of whoever I come in contact with, wherever, whatever path they're from, whatever their history? Can I have reverence for them, their story, their experiences, their light?
oh, so Catherine, so good. And this is exactly what we're talking about. This I was looking at, speaking of humanitarian, I was looking at this word where he says in verse 13, he talks about Moses again, and he's climbing up this mountain. He talks about taking the shoes off of his feet. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. We're gonna try to end here in just 5 minutes, Catherine, if that's
Right.
okay, so that I can use this time with these wonderful women, and then I'll report next week on all the family history that I learned.
Yes. Yes.
I will. I really will. Um, but he says this. He says, Additionally, such spiritual transformation can come as we strive to honor the covenants we have made with the Lord by living in obedience to the commandments. These efforts can bring a quiet and certain stillness to our hearts. Focusing on such actions can surely help transform our homes into reverent places of spiritual refuge. Refuge. Sorry, I said that was my Welsh accent. I don't even know what that was. Spiritual refuge, personal sanctuaries of faith where the Spirit resides, much like the mountain experiences of Moses. I think about Moses, and also I can't help it, but the Doctrine and Covenant section 84, where Moses is trying to get people to worship him, and the people refuse to worship. And I think of the sacred place that Moses was able to enter into in the presence of the Lord, and how the other individuals refused to enter into God's presence because they had gold statues that they were building on the ground, when in reality, they didn't recognize the reverence and the awe and the inspiration that was coming from what Moses was simply doing in the mountains with God. And sometimes the world can be so loud, and as he says, Satan can be on our shoulders so much that we may miss the awe moments in exchange for the entertainment and the wows of society. When in reality is God is so much more. I know I'm speaking to the choir, but the awe-inspiring moments with the Lord that cannot be replaced by anything the world will ever create. And he talks about that with AI. That's actually a warning that he gives in this talk, is be very careful of AI and thinking that somehow AI can replace God. It never can, right? I just love that warning for all of us too.
Right. And even Elder Bednar in Things as They Really Are, the 2.0 version, right?
Yeah.
When he gave his talk, Things as They Really Are, he talked about a long time ago, he talked about social media, and everybody was like, I don't understand the big deal. And then look where we are. And
Yeah.
then last year he talked about AI, and he even talked about like some of the warnings and some of the pitfalls we can fall into. And I think even a year ago, some of us were like, okay. And now we can even begin to even see, like Elder Soares here is repeating that warning. And to do the spiritual work ourselves and be careful of AI,
Yeah,
to use AI with the Spirit.
that's right. Even this last week at Education Week, Elder Gong gave a beautiful talk regarding AI and how to use it and the warnings regarding AI in our own personal lives. If you haven't watched that talk or had a chance to listen to that talk, it's the BYU devotional given at Education Week. Strongly recommend that you watch that talk. Listen to it and watch it. It's an excellent, excellent talk.
So I know we have to end, Barb, and I just think like where can we take this reverence and this holy awe into, like, not all of us are in Wales right now. But where can we take this holy awe into our everyday? When we partake of the sacrament, when the bread and water are passed, it's a simple, quiet moment. But if we let it, that reverence turns an ordinary chapel into holy ground.
Yeah.
That reverence turns an ordinary family room into holy ground. And it's a simple act of recognizing the holy awe. And even in my mind before the sacrament, because I love the story of Moses, how he took off his shoes. And a lot of times I'll tell my students when they walk into class today, and I'm like, I'm not going to make you take off your shoes. But figuratively, like, think of taking off your shoes because we're entering into holy ground. So even before I partake of the sacrament, I think of taking off my shoes because I love how our Muslim brothers and sisters, before they enter into a mosque, they take off their shoes and they wash their feet, and very symbolic of what we do in the temple. But I just think, to take off our shoes, to prepare ourselves for holy awe. And Elder Soares ends with like this in paragraph 17. My brothers and sisters, reverence for the sacred fosters genuine gratitude, expands true happiness, leads our minds to revelation, and brings greater joy to our lives. It places our feet on holy ground and lifts our hearts to deity.
Wow.
I mean, just being able to be reverent, to stand in awe, all of these things I so genuinely pray for gratitude, for more happiness, to lead my mind for more revelation, to bring greater joy in my life. If How can I experience more of this? It's to be reverent and sacred things, and that's all around us.
And you know what? I think that's going to be one of my challenges. Although I hope that everyone listening can recognize we're talking about some doctrines and principles of the gospel here, and there are many, many principles here. There are principles of reverence. There are also principles, as they list from paragraph 6 and 7 specifically. There are principles of irreverence. I mean, we could go through this and really talk what is reverence, what is not reverence, and then how do we create reverence, and then for our own personal lives, our own personal application, what can we do? So the first one, I think I would just say to each of you, as somebody mentioned here on, so therefore what, right? That's our question every time. So we've talked about doctrines and principles together on this podcast. For you, what is your therefore what?
Therefore, what?
I would also just invite, as we have in the past, there Elder Soares talks about in here, there's so much noise in our world today. Anything that you can do to get the awe moments, whether you're writing it in your journal, but whether you're sharing it with somebody in your family. I know one of the impressions that I've had here, well, I've been in Wales and England and some of these beautiful places, we were in Preston as well, and looking at some of my family and why they joined the church, to make sure that these stories, we've done this before, but make sure these stories are being told to our family members, our children, our nephews and nieces, our grandchildren. Make sure these stories get out, because one generation will pass, the next generation comes, and we've lost a whole generation if they're not being told. And these stories, they're people who are joining the church, just as we heard today, there is a reason they're joining the church, and these stories of faith need to be, and I try not to use that word too much, but in this case I will, they need to be perpetuated. This is what helps people be in awe of the gospel of Jesus Christ and the focus on our Savior. So that's one. Yes. Oh wait, here we have, hold on. Oops.
And a really good way to do that is to go on Family Search, and on Family Search, you can record your family history stories. You can record how you joined the church, and that will be for anybody to see who comes onto your Family Search page. So any individual can see your testimony throughout the world.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, I genuinely do hope, because we need to get these awe-inspiring. There's enough irreverence that we need to get as much reverence as we possibly can into this world.
Yeah, beautiful.
I wanted to share one more thing as you're talking about holy places. I remember Elder Packer talking about how any place we can make sacred, we can make holy. And he talked about going through
Make holy places. Wait, make places you stand holy.
make
Stand in
places
holy
you stand,
places and make
and then make
places you
places you
stand holy.
stand holy. That's right, Catherine. And he talked about an airport and where there's so much noise and everything else going on. He talks about an airport and how we could even make an airport holy, right? This morning, Dustin and I may have been a little bit obnoxious, but we couldn't get into our hotel room early enough. And so we went over to McDonald's. And Dustin, I mean, I have to admit, I pulled out my scriptures. I took up 3 tables, and I had my journal, and I had my scriptures, and I had my talks. And I remember we walked in, and Dustin pointed out there was a song playing about how God is a woman, and we were just kind of, and then there's another song about Satan, and it was just kind of this weird. The music was very interesting, right? But we were sitting there, and I started studying my scriptures, and I was studying section 128, and I was studying section 124 and 132, just because they're on my mind constantly right now. And I had a very sacred, holy experience at the local McDonald's here in Wales, just sitting at a table. And I mean this sincerely. I talked to Dustin as we were leaving, heading over, and I just said, isn't it fascinating that everyone has their maybe their way that the Lord makes things holy, but to pull out the scriptures and have a sacred moment where I almost wanted to, it was a glad tidings, a great rejoicing at the McDonald's this morning, as the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me and testified of the truthfulness and the importance of the gospel of Jesus Christ and of temple work and of baptisms for the dead and family history. It was very inspiring this morning. So I will just simply testify. I know that we are all in various stages of our lives. You can make a bathroom a holy place, an airport a holy place. You can make McDonald's a holy place, right? And
Your
hopefully we're
car.
all doing, yeah, your car, absolutely. And especially we can make our homes holy places. Most of us are in positions where we can make our homes holy places, and we have the responsibility when we can to do just that, to keep our homes holy. Anyway, so
Beautiful.
Catherine, thank you so much. I hope that all of us also recognize the joy that comes from holiness. I mean, here this is an armful of joy right here. I'm gonna go around really quick one more time. I mean, who would have guessed, honestly,
Will
when I went to church
you
yesterday, that I would meet these incredible women?
will
Yes.
you two give Glenn and Faye and Christy and John a huge cooch from me?
A huge cooch.
Coach.
It's a cooch.
Coach. We'll
Coach.
train you up. We'll train you up in the way you should be. It's a coach. That's
It's a
good.
Cooch.
cooch.
Thank you. My husband right now would be dying. I can't believe you said cooch, Catherine.
Well, we love you.
Trustworthy.
We love you all on the show, and I really do genuinely. I want to give you the same invitation that I gave at the beginning. If you could write, and I want you to genuinely think about this. If you could write, what are these awe-inspiring moments for you? What are your moments? So if you could write that afterwards in the comments, and then share those with people. Share them with your family and friends. And just so you guys know, there are many saying thank you to Deb and her mom. Beautiful. And some want to contact you, et cetera, later, and they want you on the show again. So,
Yes.
Catherine, it looks like you had a final thought. Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Then I am also going to just testify, because I can't help it. I just simply testify that this is God's church. This is the Church of Jesus Christ, and it is an international church. It is all throughout the world, and we are absolutely blessed to be able to partake of the sacrament on Sundays wherever we are. By their fruits you shall know them, and we find these fruits. And I also testify that I am in awe of God constantly. It is constant for me. There is a God in heaven, and I say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Bye,
Have a
friends. We
great
love
time
you
going
all.
to family history. Love you all. Have a great week, you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.